Produce. You love it, I tolerate it. Some people say that an apple a day keeps the doctor away. I say that a shotgun works even better. Now there's something we need to get straight here. I've been told that you kids can't tell the difference between your fruits and vegetables. Like this. Is this a fruit or a vegetable? Wrong, it's a sausage. You losers are more hopeless than I thought. First, we should clear up what the difference is between a fruit and a vegetable. A fruit is a flower that let itself go in order to make a sweet cocoon to entice passing animals to do what I'm sure every parent has contemplated, and let them eat its babies. They have two parts, the seeds inside and the outer layer that protects the seeds, which is sometimes fleshy, sometimes not, kinda like me. Vegetables are every other part of the plant. Roots, stems, leaves, unless they're herbs. What's the difference between a vegetable and an herb? That wasn't a rhetorical question. I am genuinely confused. I tried to look it up, but all I managed to find out is that bananas count as herbs. Alright, let's get the obvious one out of the way. Tomatoes. Fruit, vegetable, or a pair of feet fingers sharing a flat in London? Come on now, we all know the real answer. Of course a tomato's a fruit. Not only is it a fruit, but it's probably the most fruity fruit that ever fruited. It's fleshy, it's juicy, it has seeds, and it comes from a flower. If someone ever asked me to tell them what a fruit is, I'd show them an apple. And when they'd say, no, I said, tell me, don't just wave a pomegranate in my face, I'd show them a tomato. That is how much of a fruit a tomato is. I think the reason people don't consider tomatoes as fruit is that they aren't as sweet as other fruit, and we tend to eat them almost exclusively with vegetables and meats. But that train of logic also applies to lemons. Lemons aren't particularly sweet, and we eat them almost exclusively over salads or meats. So if tomatoes are vegetables, doesn't that also make lemons vegetables? I mean, I don't see you throwing any lemons into your fruit cup, but I have eaten a fruit cup with tomato in it. It was okay. Although, if you did want to make the argument that tomatoes count as a vegetable, you could always look to the 1893 Nix v. Hedden court case. In 1887, the U.S. instated a tariff on all vegetables, but not on fruit. And since no one could decide whether or not tomatoes should be part of that tariff, they asked the Supreme Court of all people, after careful deliberation, we have decided that this fruit is a vegetable. But lemons are still fruits because fuck you. Also, here's another fun little fact about the tomato plant. When Europeans first came across it, they recognized it as nightshade, and more specifically as a relative of belladonna, also known as deadly nightshade. On top of that, a lot of people who ate it also happened to die, so people were pretty sure that it was poisonous. A tomato was even slipped into a soup to assassinate some guy named Jorge Washington. Well, whoever he was apparently important enough to assassinate. Of course, now we know that tomatoes are only poisonous to people with good taste. The real reason all of those Europeaners died was because everyone at the time ate on pewter plates, and the tomato acid had a tendency of absorbing the pewter, resulting in pewter poisoning. Now, this one I can see why people think it's a vegetable. It's green, it's hard, its flavor lies somewhere between crunchy water and old man, and it makes for great pickles, which, aside from olives and hot peppers, tends to be the realm of vegetables. But alas, 'tis be a fruit. Not only is it a fruit, it actually qualifies as a berry, and not just any berry. Cucumbers belong to the classification of true berry pepo, which is an adorable name for very ugly fruits that include pumpkin, squash, and those gourds people like to use as decorations despite looking like shriveled, warty nutsacks. Honey, did you get the gourd from the grocery store for our table? Nope, but I got these castration shears so we can make our own. I guess it's gonna be a small gourd this year. Well, I guess it technically is a shriveled, warty nutsack, but you know what I mean. New Guinea certainly knows what I mean. And honestly, if you're going to use any fruit as decoration, it should be the turban squash. I mean, just look at it. It's a berry with a little hat. That's adorable. Speaking of berries, watermelons and bananas are also berries, alongside our new old friend, the tomato. But you know what aren't berries? strawberries, raspberries, and blackberries, despite the fact that they have berry in their name. Botanists consider these to be aggregate fruits, which means that they're formed from multiple ovaries within a flower. It's kind of like instead of a dog giving birth to a litter of puppies, they gave birth to one massive puppy, made out of smaller puppies. This is a fruit. This is obviously a fruit. Have you ever seen a purple vegetable? Didn't think so. Don't look at those. Well, even if you do see this as a vegetable, you definitely don't see it as an egg. I do. Guards, kill that one. While the majority of the English-speaking world call this an aubergine...
Aubergine.
Hey, screw you, lady. In America, we call them eggplants for some reason. Oh my god! This plant is laying eggs! What? Plants don't lay eggs. Oh yeah? Then what do you call this? Do you even know what an egg is? Yeah, it's long and purple, and it would feel good if I shoved it up my butt. Okay, aside from that last part, you are completely off base. The actual reason it's called an eggplant is because that was the name of a particular strain of aubergine that happened to be white and ovicular like a chicken egg, and the name just spread from the non-egg looking varieties in the US and Canada. Despite being botanically a fruit, eggplants don't really behave like one. You're probably not going to put one into a smoothie or a fruit cup, nor will you find any eggplant juice or jam being sold at stores. But it doesn't even function like a vegetable either, where you can put it in a salad like cucumbers or bell peppers. By the way, bell peppers are also a fruit. Fuck you! Honestly, it seems like eggplants don't want to hang out with the nerdy produce and want to be thought of as meat. The jocks of the food world. If you think I'm talking crazy, which I'm not, shut up. Then you've clearly never had good eggplant before, because ideally, it should taste like a sweet meat. But if you ask me, eggplant's true calling is in fries. Seriously, if you've never had eggplant fries or aubergine chips, then you're missing out. Easily one of the best foods. I will fight you on this. Alright, Mr. Turtleman, this is going too far. I can handle all the other blasphemous claims you said here, but are you seriously trying to claim that legumes are a fruit? The word legume is literally the French word for vegetable. How can you sit there and tell me that these green peas are fruit? Oh, no, of course those aren't fruit. Yeah, that's what I thought. Those are just the seeds of the pea fruit. What? Legumes refer to a type of plant that gives us such foods as beans, peas, lentils, and even peanuts. The fruit part is the pod that these things come in, with the prize inside actually being seeds. Although there are some pods that get eaten along with the seeds like string beans and snap peas. The only notable exception I could find is the humble peanut. Apparently, peanuts didn't want to be a fruit. They must have seen a potato and went, "Aw, that guy's so cool." So they started growing underground with the roots. I mean, I can't blame them. Every night I stare out the window and think to myself, why amn't I a potato? So, what do you think about that, Pickles? Well, everything I know about produce is shattered, but I'm just glad that it can't get any worse than this. No. That's right. Those tasty crunchy oats you eat out of that bag when you're dragging a carriage behind you are fruit. You are a horse, right? Grains are small, hard fruit under the Caryopsis classification of dried fruits. You can tell Caryopses apart from other fruits because a Caryopsis is a monocarpellate and indehiscent simple fruit similar to an achene, but where the pericarp is fused to the seed coat. I don't think I need to elaborate any further. It seems pretty self-explanatory to me. Grains can be broken down into two categories. The first is cereals. No, not those cereals. These cereals. These grains are fruits of, get this, grass. I know, right? I didn't expect so much from what's essentially the Earth's body hair, but apparently these little buggers account for the majority of humanity's food supply. Cereals include rice, oats, wheat, rye, barley, and some other fruits that technically aren't grains, but they're close enough, like buckwheat, amaranth, quinoa. Well, at least I can rest easy knowing good old corn isn't a ding-dang cereal. Even good old corn is a ding-dang cereal. Ding dang it! And I'm not just talking about the husk and cob. Each individual kernel is a fruit in the same way pomegranate seeds are. Although that shouldn't be too much of a surprise since corn is commonly made into high fructose corn syrup, with the fructose part basically meaning fruit sugar. Hell, if you made a donut with flour and high fructose corn syrup, then fried it in some sort of vegetable oil, which, shocker of all shocks, mostly come from fruits and seeds and not vegetables, then you have a nearly 100% fruit-based treat. Son, I wish you would eat healthier foods. No, this is technically a fruit. And this is why we don't love you. But you want to know what the craziest part of this is? That second category of grains are legumes. And just when you thought there couldn't be any more plot twists. Alright, as a final test, is this a fruit or a vegetable? Sausage! Pina colada. You make me so proud. But none of this matters because all fruits are technically vegetables. Seriously, any edible plant matter counts as a vegetable. Except for herbs. Seriously, what is an herb? What are you?